At St. Cloud State University, athletics are more than just games. They're an essential part of the Husky experience. From D1 hockey games to championship-winning wrestling, volleyball, and more, there's Husky pride in every corner of campus. Whether you're on the field, in the stands, or cheering from the student section, you're a part of something big. And the best part? SCSU is close to home, affordable, and packed with community that's got your back, in class and on the court. Come see what it means to be a Husky. Schedule your campus tour today at St. Cloud State University, the home of the Huskies.
What you are about to hear will blow your mind and give you six-pack abs without even exercising.
Pull up a bar stool and relax.
Hey, who wants to have some fun?
You've made it to Happy Hour with John Gaskins.
Oh, no. Not again.
Get ready for entertaining local and regional sports talk that will change your life, or not.
And by the way, when you're telling these little stories, here's a good idea. Have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the listener.
Here's your host, John Gaskins.
Here's Johnny. Hello!
Ah! I'm back, baby! I'm back!
Whoa! Whoa! That was me last night. Jumping off the couch.
Not me.
I don't have a dog in the fight. I mean, I kind of am cheering for the Knicks, but even if I weren't, just one of those moments in sports. The OG tip in, 1 second left. That's just, you're never going to forget it. To me, I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. It's one of the more amazing moments considering what was on the line. I've seen at the end of a sporting event. Hyperbole, recency bias, I don't know. But it's Thirsty Thursday with Trent Singer here at the Orion. Trent Tinger at the Sorion.
Trent Singer at the Sorion.
And we're not even drinking alcohol. Cheers. We got Happy Refreshers from Lagunitas, or as Harry Carey likes to say, Lagunitas. And what's Cordell cracking open? A Diet Coke. We're non-alcoholic today, and that's fine. There's a lot of good non-alcoholic drinks at the friendly downtown neighborhood bar.
That's true.
We're fine.
Best bar in Sioux Falls.
We're living the true high life, Trent.
That's true.
Very refreshing. So good to see you, and cheers. And what we're going to do here is, we'll talk about the game last night, but we spent a long time talking about the legendary game and finish and what went wrong with the Spurs with our Timberwolves panel, our Timberwolves Talk panel. This guy just walking in, the owner of the bar, Jon Oppold, and Chris Johnson, USF basketball coach. We just taped it. It was a blast. Highly recommend it because I thought what the world needed more today is more reaction to last night's game.
It was a hell of a game.
Nobody else is talking about it, but nobody else talks about it like we do. It was a hell of a game, and but we're going to spin it South Dakota a little bit, or our favorite local memories of like the most amazing comebacks, finishes, and I'm tossing in electric crowds because it was clear that that's what the case was at Madison Square Garden. You had guys like Mike Breen, who's been calling Knicks games. He said it for 34 years. He's never felt the Garden shake and erupt like that. So anyway,
that was brutal.
Well, Trent's angle is he's a Spurs fan.
Well, I jumped. I'll be honest with you. I've jumped on this bandwagon probably around the Timberwolves series. I kind of whoever was going to win that series, I don't want off this bandwagon. I really like this Spurs team. I love Wemby. I love Dylan Harper. I'd like to see Dylan Harper get a little bit more involved in this team too, because to be quite honest,
actually closed right now, guys. Sorry, opens. It's all right. It was unlocked. It's open at 4.
I'd like to see Dylan Harper get more involved.
Excuse me for a second. Keep going.
Yeah, you're good. It's brutal. It's brutal, especially from a Spurs perspective too. You got to understand, like this is a franchise. I know they've won 5 titles. They have had some of the most heartbreaking losses in playoffs. You remember the Derek Fisher shot in 2004 with 0.4 seconds left? I remember it. And
did the Spurs ever get Robert Ory before Robert Ory was a Spur?
I remember the 2013 NBA Finals Game 6. Ray Allen hits the corner 3 in front of a half-empty arena in Miami, and Miami went on to win in overtime. Yeah. And now this one. 29-point lead. That was brutal. Tough to swallow if you're a Spurs fan. But it's a young team, and I think what the crazy thing to me is De'Aaron Fox, their veteran, was the one making kind of the plays that cost him in the end.
Yeah, the boneheaded plays. I mean, he said it, and I don't necessarily doubt it. Maybe it is human instinct. You get caught up in the moment. I'm going to finish a layup here. But it was even on his way up, though, he was so la-di-da about it that it got easily blocked by a beast who was chasing him down.
It hit his arm. It hit his arm. He hit him on the arm. You can see that. You can watch it. I mean, he hits him on the arm. It's a foul. But they're not going to call that, though. I mean, the reality is they're not going to call that. So you need to just hold on to the ball and get yourself to the free throw line.
I mean, do you agree with Charles Barkley and our own Chris Johnson? Chris Johnson was saying this as the comeback was happening when I was texting him last night that because, look, to be honest, I missed like the first 20 of the 29-point comeback. I was having dinner on the patio with Gilbert and not really caring if I was missing the game because I thought it was over. And anyway, I tuned back in when it was 9, and then it got down to 7 and 4, and that's when I texted Chris, like, oh my God, what an amazing game. And he's like, and the dumbest game I've ever seen. And the dumbest game dumbest play coaching I've ever seen.
There's so much in that second half that I look back. Obviously, the fourth quarter run they made, I saw it coming because it was a 29-point lead. They get it down to about 16, and I said, if the Knicks can keep it here, they're within striking range. And they did. They kept it right within that, like, I think it buoyed back to 20, and they got it back down to 15, 16 points, and it stayed there up until about 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and then they made their run. Yeah. And it was all, I'm texting my friend who's a big Spurs fan, and we're just like, if they can weather that storm, I feel good about them winning this game. But I didn't like some of the coaching decisions from Mitch Johnson in that fourth quarter, though. They didn't, like, Dylan Harper didn't play at all. Yeah. It was all De'Aaron Fox, and I think that offense runs the best when Dylan Harper is running the point. And I know he's young, and there were some shots that they were taking too many shots too early in the shot clock too, and they fell in love with the 3-ball because they were hitting so many in the first half.
Yeah, and I criticizing coaching is the easiest, sometimes laziest thing to do.
I mean, look,
when it comes to all sports, but I mean, when you blow a 29-point lead, it's like call a timeout or two, get them regrouped, tell them to stop. Even Chris Johnson, the coach here, said. Those threes go in, no one's talking about how dumb shots they were. So that all happened. A lot of great places. If you missed the first 5 or 10 minutes of Inside the NBA last night, I mean, that show's been the best.
It's getting really good now.
The GOAT of studio shows. And by the way, I tweeted that last night thinking, I mean, that's a fairly universal, but there's always going to be some yin-yang that's like, no, it's not, the whatever, Brent Musburger and Jimmy the Greek or whoever. Is like, no one argues that that's like the best post-game show that's ever been created, and in its biggest moment, because remember, these guys have never done the finals. They've always been over there on TNT. Yep. So they're finally doing finals games, and in like one of the all-time legendary finals games, legendary collapses, legendary comebacks, legendary shots. They couldn't have crushed it any better. It's like the show it's always been on steroids, where Ernie Johnson just asks the perfect question to start the show, what the hell just happened?
Yep.
And Kenny's microphone doesn't work, and so Ernie, the pro that he is, just sticks his microphone in his face. That problem solved. And then we might even grab the clip. If we don't grab the clip, Kenny just is like, what wherewithal by Brunson to hoist the shot with 5 seconds left. So there's time for OG to get the rebound, and that's championship. And Barkley's interrupting him. That's all you got? That's your first thought? No filter, interrupting. And then you just like, that's I think dumbest game in the history, dumbest team in the history of civilization.
One thing I noticed about those two lately is I think they've come to the realization that the network needs them more than they need the network.
Oh yeah, that's been for years.
That is the reality here, though.
That point came a long time ago.
And it ratings-wise, this has to be working in their favor.
Well, it does. Plus, the game itself was the highest-rated game in 30 years. Highest-rated NBA Finals game, and therefore, I would think, NBA game in 30 years.
Yep.
So, we're a local sports show here, and Trent is Mr. Local, just because the sanctioned sports have stopped in high school and college for the summer. Doesn't mean we're not going to have shows. Doesn't mean there's going to be great stories to tell and things to talk about here on Thirsty Thursdays. But everybody on Earth, okay, I shouldn't say that. Everybody in America, okay, a lot of people were, we may as well talk about it because you listening and watching out there probably watched it as well. But again, we did plenty of that with Chris and John. what I thought we would do, which I think is something a good local sports show does, something shows that I've been hosting have been doing for years, things like this. You go, okay, well, let's bring it back to South Dakota.
Yeah.
Let's South Dakota-ize this. You know, you've been here for, a decade now, covering local sports?
Since 2018.
That's a decade
Not
enough.
a lot of basketball, though. I mean, basketball was really since 2022, 23, so I haven't seen too many.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a pretty good comeback this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been here for about combined 13, 14 years, and I enlisted the likes of, here's an A-list roll call of Sioux Falls sports luminaries.
Okay.
Stu Whitney,
Yeah.
Matt Zimmer, Craig Mattick.
Oh, you got it then.
Terry Vandrovec. Mick Gary has not responded yet, but I didn't give them a lot of heads up. So, but the first few guys responded with their lists, and so just I like a good host wouldn't. I haven't really narrowed it down. I thought it was an incredible comeback. It's the greatest comeback in NBA Finals history.
Mm-hmm.
Best halftime comeback, 27 points in the history of the NBA playoffs.
Yep.
So it's literally an epic. And then that finish again. We've seen crazy jumpers. We've seen a half quarter or two, maybe in the Leitner shot, but like just a wow shot at the end, which was kind of lucky, but also just plain. It gets off your seat, makes you go wow. Yep. All of that. So you know, what are ours from our covering some basketball? And I went for basketball. If I went for all sports, we'd be here forever talking about last-second touchdowns and Hail Marys. So I will lead things off here. By the way, we haven't talked about our shirts today.
I've worn this one before.
You got a shirt that just says Trent.
It's Trent, yep. It's a wrestler.
In horror movie type of things.
Yeah.
Black shirt.
It's not about the town in South Dakota.
Not about the town of Trent, South Dakota.
This is the human being, Trent Beretta.
I'm just getting ready for the Canaries' 6-game homestand here.
Yeah. Tonight?
With my
Starts
bright
tonight?
yellow jacket. Starts Friday.
Tomorrow, they're off today, right?
They're off today. Canaries start
Thursdays.
6 in a row at home. The weather looks mostly good. Gonna have a lot of fun. Special jerseys on Friday and Saturday night. Crush Cancer and Union Night. $8 tickets if you're in a union and show your union badge on Saturday. $3.50 domestics before first pitch Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Sundays you can get the family 4-pack, 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, $60. All kinds of great stuff. sfcanaries.com. I'll see you out at the ballpark. And on Friday night I'll be wearing this. Fireworks after the game.
Awesome.
We now return to our program. The first shot, and usually it's the best, right? The first that comes to your mind, the wow moments, the wow shots, wasn't really a legendary epic comeback, although the season for the winning team was an epic comeback from the abyss. South Dakota State Jackrabbits, the Michael Orest shot, 2017 Summit League Tournament semifinals. Before I go any further explaining, we had Mike Dahm on the show last week. And this is a man who went to 3 NCAA tournaments, top 10 in NCAA scoring, all in an SDSU uniform. He played in the greatest 4 or 5 years the Jacks arguably have had. And, well, Mike, what's your favorite, best memory? The Michael Orest shot, because Mike Dahm thought he was going to take the shot to beat rival USD in a Summit Tournament semifinal for the rights to go to the championship, and you win the championship, you're in the big dance. And the Yotes were the number 1 seed. The Jacks had started the league season 1-6. First year TJ Otzelberger. A lot of people are thinking, who is this guy? How is he screwing this up? And they just roared down the stretch, win 7 of 9, and then the Michael Orest shot, guy who had shot 28% or so on the year. But the shot lights out that night, had an open shot, and drove the knife right through the Coyotes' hearts in a packed, electric, I'd say 70% Jacks, but definitely, red and blue and yellow Denny Sanford Premier Center. Number 1, by the way, anybody wants to chime in, can't do it live, but at John K. Gaskins or at Happy Hour JG on Twitter with the best, most incredible moments South Dakota basketball history.
As far as stakes, that's pretty high up there because it's a Summit League tournament game.
Huge crowd.
What was it, 9 years ago then now?
Yeah, and hey, the Jacks have won 7 of those, and the Yotes still have to win one. I mean, the Yotes will truly feel like they've arrived in the Summit League in basketball when the men win the Summit League tournament. The women have won 4. But that was insane in the membrane. Okay,
I've got some regular season games.
Okay.
I'll go with this 2019 game, February 16th. I wasn't here. I mean, I was here, but didn't cover this game or anything.
Yeah.
Jack's is a regular season game, 17-point second-half deficit against North Dakota State in Fargo. They came back to win that game 78-77. David Jenkins, 24 points for the Jacks, 17 in the second half, and he had a half-court buzzer beater to win the game. Jacks never led in the second half until the game-winning shot.
Wow.
So, that's a pretty 17-point comeback against a rival, a conference rival. That's a pretty good one.
And thank you for bringing up David Jenkins. I got to get him on the show, too.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal. I mean, he gets buried in Mike Dom and Nate Walters, Baylor Shireman, recency bias. But, man, David Jenkins was a dude. Plus, a lot of people didn't love him because, oh, my God, he transferred.
Yep.
Which, everybody does now. All right, so that's a good one. I'll go high school now. We'll bounce all over the place. First high school game I could think of that just dropped my jaw, end of a game. And, again, it helps if it's in a championship game or a state tournament. And did we find it? Did we find the O'Gorman shot? We did. Great. So you'll probably be able to see it. If you're watching this with Cordell Wright's video production at SiouxFallsLive.com, where you should always watch the show. I don't know if you're out there. I don't think you were. I think it was Brian Henshin was out there for the Argus back in the day. 2019.
Yep, it would have been Brian.
Matthew Moores, who was on his way, we thought, to being the biggest scorer in the history of South Dakota high school basketball. I think he ended up just a bit short. But hit the game winner. Well, here's another one. He hits the game winner as a freshman.
I was going to say, but in 2019 he would have been.
I forgot about that one before the second year. Yeah, Matthew Moores as a freshman hit a game winner. It was with about 15 seconds left, but it was a game winner in 2018 in Sioux Falls, 30 feet away from me, courtside calling the game. That was pretty special. That was incredible.
Championship?
We talked about that with them recently on an interview you can go back and listen to, and it was a championship game.
Yeah.
Yep. The very next year, Yankton's going for the repeat. I think they're the number one seed, number one or number two. And they're playing O'Gorman, another Derek Roby, not the best team in the state, but they'll scrape and claw and bite at your kneecaps and heels. And Yankton's ahead. O'Gorman has the ball. Five seconds left. It's ticking down. There's an inbounds pass. Buzzer goes off. Shot gets released right about the same time. I continue to forget the kid's name, but he nails it. O'Gorman fans go crazy. Yankton fans are crying bloody murder because they thought it was after the shot clock. And guess what? No replay, Jack. There was replay after this game. It wasn't just a phenomenal, epic, historic play. It was a historic moment. It changed the state tournament to where, hey, these games are all televised. There's cameras everywhere. If there's a disputed, and I don't know if it's the last minute or two or because it's not the whole game, but you can go to replay and change a call like that, but you couldn't. And so a controversial win. And, of course, for O'Gorman, who, let's face it, that's the team more people dislike than everybody else all across the state. So it came with controversy. Craig Mattick calling the game on on SDTV, right?
SDPB.
SDPB, thank you. I'm calling it on the radio up in the rafters for KWSN. Craig and Mike Henriksen calling it. The things that Yankton fans were yelling at them because they wanted these guys to, the fans wanted these guys to control the narrative on the air. And what they were yelling at the refs, what they were yelling about O'Gorman was just apparently, it was kind of the worst of what people get, the kind of emotions that sports broils. And so it was epic, and it changed South Dakota high school basketball.
Yeah.
So there was that.
I'll go high school one too. This happened just this year. I wasn't there to cover it. I've never been there to cover it. I've talked about it on this show. I'd love to go cover the Class B tournament in Aberdeen. So this was the Class B championship between Freeman and Castlewood. A 13-point deficit for Freeman in the second half. Not a massive deficit. But the stakes, I think, is what's really significant here. Erased the 13-point deficit, beat Castlewood 61-53 in the Class B championship, and it was, I believe it's Freeman's first state championship since 1975.
Wow.
Yeah. So, like, a half a century of not winning a state championship, to do it in that fashion was pretty cool.
We'll stay with high school. We'll go back to some college memories, and I think Stu Whitney had a Skyforce memory for me, which
that would be good.
I was certainly hoping so, because he covered it back in the day when the arena was full and rocking all the time in the 90s. But Craig Mattick's first thought that came to mind, 1998, regular season.
Oh, boy.
O'Gorman at Brandon Valley. Austin Hansen, one of the best ever in the state's history. Mr. Basketball that year. He beat out Mike Miller. Beat out Mike Miller for Mr. Basketball. Kid's name was Austin Hansen.
No, Mike. What'd you say?
Mike Miller. Google him.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
He was okay. He went on to have play in college.
Did he? Okay.
And I think he got paid to play after that.
Did he?
Owned a sports bar for a while here. For a while. BV gym was packed. The old Brandon Valley gym. Hansen hits the basket late. Craig said he couldn't hear himself talking as he was calling the game on the radio. It was the most deafening crowd noise he's ever been a part of. I mean, that includes state tournaments, I guess. And Hansen, and Craig looked this up. End of the story. Hansen and Mike Miller actually shared Mr. Basketball in 1998. What's crazy about this is O'Gorman and Brandon Valley would meet again in the state championship game later that year in 1998. And our guest on Monday, Mike Begeman, was the coach of that O'Gorman team. So he'll kind of take it from there, from the state tournament.
Yeah.
So that was Craig Mattick's fondest, most wow-popping memory. And this is a man who's been calling games for 30-plus years.
I've seen some thrilling high school basketball games, but I
Sure.
don't know that I've seen too many huge comebacks in high school. I remember, was it 1 or 2 years ago, it was a regular season game between O'Gorman and Washington. I wasn't expecting much from it. It was at Washington. Ended up being a fantastic game. And, I think O'Gorman ended up squeaking it out at the end. It went to 1 or 2 overtimes, and Derek Roby was just in his finest form after the game. I remember that.
Yes.
I got a couple.
We'll miss him. All right.
I got a couple that I'll couple together because they happen in the same season. So the 22-23 season for the Jacks, they actually ended up having 3 10-plus point comebacks in that season, and here's 2 of them. One of them is the biggest comeback in program history. They rallied to beat Eastern Washington at home in non-conference play, 77-76. Trailed 69-46 with 8:36 left in the game before going on to outscore Eastern Washington 31-7 in the last just inside 9-minute span. Zeke Mayo, career high 30 points, including the final bucket of the game, which would have put him at his career high with 2 seconds left to win the game. South Dakota State was a perfect 15 of 15 from the stripe. Wow. During that run, and they forced 5 Eastern Washington turnovers. So that was probably a pretty big one, as far as early season non-conference games. But in that same season, this one was SDSU's third 10-plus point comeback of that season, the 22-23 season. The Jacks trailed 59-41 with 13 to go at Denver. And then Jacks went into full court defensively, went on a 30-12 run over an 8-20 span, and then Zeke Mayo finish it off with ends up scoring 27 points in that game. They won 180-75. So that was a wild season for them. I don't even think they won the Summit League that year. I think Oral Roberts won it that year.
Jacks women. I mean, lots of legendary games and shots. And again, we're just going for the most bonkers moments we can remember in South Dakota basketball history, which college or pro or high school, buzzer beaters, big comebacks, electric crowds. This happened in Minneapolis at the old barn. I do remember this. Terry Vandrovec submits, he labels this the Gophers beaten by the Jackrabbits. And think about how 15 years ago, how big of a deal that was. Like now you're like, yeah, sure, I believe that. But, about 16 years ago, a shot at the buzzer that merited a long review and a change in the rule book. So Maria Bover, whose high school games in Worthington I called, playing for the Jacks now, scored on a layup as time expired. SDSU 59-58 over Minnesota. Huge early win for those early Jacks teams in the Summit League and Division I. SDSU trailed by 7 points, 6 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the game. Held Minnesota without a field goal for the final 5:05. But apparently it was a long review at the buzzer to see if Maria Bover beat the buzzer. And I don't have the exact date on this, what year it actually was, but it was circa 20.
Looks like January 1st, 1970 there, John.
I don't think that's quite right. Thank you, though. Somewhere in the late 2000s.
Yeah.
I think I might have still been in Worthington, whether I was in Worthington or I was now working in Sioux Falls. I remember calling Maria, family friend, and talking to her about that either shortly after the game or on the next day's show. That was pretty wild, something that a lot of people, it's been a long time. People probably forgot. Next on your list?
Yeah, I got honestly, I'll give you the one that I remember.
Okay.
This happened this year. I was actually covering this game, and then I had to go over and cover hockey later that night. So it was at the Elman Center. Augustana St. Cloud State, battle between ones. We previewed that game here, right here at Orion Pub.
We did.
And Augie had a chance to win the NSIC, or I think at least go into a tie with St. Cloud State for that game for the NSIC title. But St. Cloud State could win it outright. They did. Augie was up 16 points in the second half. And St. Cloud State rallied to win it 87-80, and clinched the regular season title for the Huskies.
Did you mention South Dakota State Summit League tournament to beat number 2 Oral Roberts overtime in the first Summit tourney in Sioux Falls?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I do remember that. I don't remember a lot of the details, but second submission from Terry Vandrovec. This was 2009. I do remember this. Again, this was such a big deal, the Summit League tournament, coming to Sioux Falls, tiny, old, dumpy Sioux Falls arena, loud old barn. I remember talking to a guy who was working on the crew for ESPN, like the production crew chief. I had him on the show during a game while the show was going on, and they're going to say nice things. And I'm like, "What do you think of the place?" And he's just like, "It's a great old barn, great old noisy barn. I love these old barns."
5 years before they built the Premier Center, right?
5 years, yeah, something like that. Yeah, exactly 5 years. But I just remember that was memorable because I had forgotten this was a mad charging comeback, but they did beat Oral Roberts in overtime. SDSU was the number 7 seed. They had about 5 straight losing seasons, 4 of which were single digits. Scott Nagy, who was a young up-and-coming Division II coach, was lost in Division I translation. And, a lot of people, I think a lot of Jacks fans want him gone. I mean, about 5 years, he couldn't muster a winning season, and it looked like he was in over his head in Division I. And they're the 7th seed in the first tournament that comes to Sioux Falls, a chance to play postseason in front of your home fans. Oral Roberts at the time, along with Oakland, those are the 2 big dogs of the league. And Scott Sutton, Eddie's boy, was the coach. And this was a massive upset and a massive comeback. And I'll just never forget. After the post-game show, you could see Scott was a very, everyone remembers Scott was kind of a stoic and cranky guy, okay? Rarely ever smiled. He was always angry even in victory. And, and the first question was something like, how did this happen? How'd you guys do it? Or what'd you tell him? Or whatever, to elicit this comeback. And you could just tell the emotion, like the weight was off his shoulders. Like, I think I can still be SDSU's coach now. We kind of won a huge game here. And he just said, not tonight. Not tonight. It was Herb Brooks. I don't know if he was quoting Herb Brooks or not, but it was kind of like, no, we're not going to be the same old Jackrabbits tonight. That was literally the night South Dakota State basketball turned around into what it became. Because before that, they were a losing team, couldn't get out of their own way. And then the tournament comes to Sioux Falls. Now they can harness all that. And, of course, they won 3 with Scott. And, he gets the right state job. Now he's in Southern Illinois. And, Otzelberger comes in and wins a couple, so does Hendo, and the rest is history. So some of these aren't just epic comebacks and wins.
They're literally
like
staple wins,
historic
right?
things where it kind of turns the tide of history, which I love. You want to hear a Stu Whitney Skyforce memory?
Let's get one.
This is pretty good. I'll try to channel like the voice of Stu Whitney because he writes everything like he's writing an article or a book. And he used to come on the radio every week to do Stu's Views. And he just wrote these legendary 10-minute monologues.
Oh, yeah.
So he's
a hell of a writer.
So he's just texting me, and he still writes it like he's writing a dramatic column. Believe it or not, the loudest environment Stu Whitney can remember occurred in a CBA playoff game at the Sioux Falls Arena at the height of the Skyforce craze in this city. It was the 1996 Conference Finals, Game 4 of a best-of-5 series, with Sioux Falls trailing, trying to finish off the Florida Beach Dogs, who were formerly the Rapid City Thrillers, their arch rival, who were still coached by Eric Musselman, who we had on the show last week. He's now the coach at USC. Musselman had coached the team in Rapid City, knew how to play the villain. He rode the refs constantly, was widely reviled in Sioux Falls. The place was sold out. You literally could not get a ticket. And unlike high school state tournament scenarios, there were no divided loyalties. Every single person in the stands was rooting for the Skyforce. They stood for much of the game. It was absolute craziness, especially when you think of the CBA or G League in its later or current state. I mean, sadly, people just don't go to those games anymore. More to the Skyforce than probably all the other teams in the league. They still draw decent crowds here, but nothing like they used to.
So this was at the arena, though?
This was at the arena, 1996. The Skyforce trailed big early and made a furious comeback that came up just short. That's kind of a buzzkill. But then he said he remembered covering Game 5 in West Palm Beach, a Sioux Falls victory that propelled the Skyforce into the CBA Finals where they defeated Fort Wayne for their first ever title. But they never matched the intensity of that night against Eric Musselman and the Big Bad Beach Dogs.
That's great.
At the arena. So there you go.
I think the loudest environment I've ever seen. I kid you not. Maybe I just wasn't used to it as much and had been taken away from it a little bit. But I believe it was. Oh man, when would it have been? 2021, 2020, 2019. It would have been around there. I was freelancing for the Argus, covering an Augustana region championship game to get to the national tournament. And this is Tom Billiter, senior laden team. I remember him bringing all of his seniors in. I think there was 8 or 9 of them all into the presser.
Okay.
And the Pentagon was as loud as I've ever heard it.
Nice.
I've heard it in some really loud games. And Augie hung in for a little bit in that first half, but some guy named Ben McCollum and Northwest Missouri State ended up winning that game. And I remember just sitting in that presser afterwards and interviewing Ben McCollum, and I'm like, why is this guy coaching here? And that was the first time I ever truly thought that. I'm like, why is he still a Division II coach? I think he genuinely loved coaching there. It was a special place to him, and obviously he's gone on to do some pretty big things.
He had some pretty decent perception there. Yeah. Maybe
Augie was the 1 seed in that tournament too. I think Northwest Missouri State was the 2 or 3 in that region tournament, and so it was kind of an upset, I guess, really. But a lot of people were like, "Look out! These guys have been here, done that."
Yeah. That guy should be coaching Iowa in the Elite Eight someday. And then now you've got the Iowa hat.
Yep. Well, this is my Ben McCollum hat right here.
How dare you flash that in front of me? Well, that's all. Is that about all
I got one more.
Okay.
I'll throw it out there.
One more for the road.
2024. This would be the most recent one college-wise on my list. South Dakota State against UNO in Omaha. SDSU trailed by 6 with 49 seconds remaining before Matt Mims hits a triple, forces a turnover to get the ball back, and then Zeke Mayo converts a 3-point play to send the game to overtime at 73-73. Jacks eventually went on to win that game 85-77 in overtime. Another regular season game.
It's all a blur. There's just so many games.
Yeah.
We tend to have recency bias, and that's kind of the point. I'm sure there are plenty of dudes and ladies out there who have listened to this and have gone, man, they're missing this.
Oh, I'm sure we are.
They're missing that.
That's the fun of it.
But
tell us what we're missing.
Tell us what we're missing. At Happy Hour with JG or at John K. Gaskins on Twitter. I'll check Twitter one last time. This is great content right here, me checking Twitter. But I just wanted to. No, I got nothing additional.
Okay.
And then here's Matt Zimmer's contribution.
I was going to say, did we get anything?
Oh, drum roll, please. I mean, I did get an answer. Matt Zimmer's been covering sports in Sioux Falls for 20-plus years. Every level of sports. Not a lot comes to mind. A few Canaries games when they came back from down 7-8 runs. That does happen at the Bird Cage at the bandbox. And a few nice comebacks by South Dakota State women's basketball, but nothing like last night. Thanks, Tim.
There really isn't anything like last night. 29 points in the NBA Finals. If you talk about the stakes of that, No, I mean, that could be the death blow for the Spurs. I hope it's not. I hope they can force this to 7. But
we could go on and on. But it's like, again, we tend to forget these, and in the moment we're like, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. But this feels like that will stand.
This is like
that will stand the test of time.
It's kind of like 28-3, right?
You know, it's
28-3 Falcons
sure.
Patriots Super Bowl.
Comeback wise, yes. Even if there wasn't a comeback, just the nature of the tip-in with 1 second left.
What's what I mean?
Again, the
yeah.
only thing I can compare to for wow moments in a game of that high of stakes is the North Carolina State, Jimmy Valvano, Lorenzo Charles at the buzzer, dunking in what would have been an air ball from Derek Whitmore. I mean, they made a whole 30 for 30 out of it. That's the first thing that came to mind, is like a similar type of scenario where the shot to win misses and somebody's just there at the right place, right time for us to all go, holy smokes.
And I kept sitting there going, they're crashing. Like, on that possession, they're selling out for the bucket.
I think, by the way,
they need it.
Jordan's shot to beat the Jazz, which we thought was the final shot of his career, to win the 6th and final championship with the Bulls. I mean, that's right, but that was a planned shot.
Yeah.
That's Michael. It's Michael Jordan.
The Derek Fisher shot in the finals is, no, that was Western Conference Finals. But that Derek Fisher shot with 0.4 seconds left against the Spurs is something. And I'll never forget watching the 2013 finals. Spurs Heat. Mm-hmm. If Kawhi Leonard hits 2 free throws, the Spurs win the championship. They up 3-2 in the series. Game 6. The arena's empty because of these, Miami fans are done. They're sick of it. And then they get, an insane offensive rebound. Chris Bosh gets an insane offensive rebound. Ray Allen hits that corner 3 fading away, and they go to overtime and win that game. And it was a death blow for the Spurs then. I think with this one, it's just, they're such a young team. How do you shake it?
Yeah. Well, we'll find out Saturday night.
Yep.
Orion Pub, downtown Sioux Falls, best place in town to come watch it, because it's a lot of the same people that pack this place for Timberwolves playoff games. And I regret I wasn't here last night, but how was I to know that the Knicks were going to come all the way back and win it? But I'm sure it was loud and popping.
2-0 Mexico.
2-0 Mexico. We got that on. World Cup 101 for Dummies with Jackson Rentschler and Clint Cron. On Happy Hour yesterday, if you want to get yourself ready and primed for the World Cup. We'll talk about it next week when a few games are in the books. We hope you enjoyed those trips down memory lane.
Yeah.
We could go on, but we won't, much to Cordell's surprise. This truly is it. We do encourage you to stick around or flip over to the thoughts from last night's game from the Timberwolves Talk panel. Johnny Ops and Chris Johnson here on today's Happy Hour from the Orion Pub.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's still Happy Hour with John Gaskins. This round's on me.
It's a red alert. It's a special emergency regrouping of the 3-man weave Timberwolves Talk crew, because damn it, that was as exciting, amazing, and as Mr. Sunshine, Chris Johnson over here would say, dumbest comeback finish in the history of, basketball last night. And then Charles Barkley said the same thing, the dumb part, right after the Knicks beat the Spurs in an all-timer at Madison Square Garden. So why not bring back the crew to wrap our brains around that? Karl-Anthony Towns in this series, and maybe where the Wolves are headed with their roster to, maybe actually reach the finals sometime in our lives, just like they're the Vikings' endless, fruitless pursuit of the Super Bowl. So good to have you guys here at the old Orion Pub. Jon Oppold, co-owner of the Orion. Chris Johnson, University of Sioux Falls basketball coach. Thanks, guys. Has the boat gotten in the water yet, Chris?
No chance.
Oh, come on.
I mean, I spend every night at either a softball diamond or a baseball diamond, as you know.
Yeah.
With 4 kids. So, no, the boat hasn't got I have not thrown – I haven't even thrown a lure in the water yet.
Okay.
But I'm going to change that in the next week, hopefully.
All right. Well, I'm rooting for you. But for now, and then I'm kind of like, when are my nights going to be free? You got these NBA Finals games. I can't miss those. Glad I didn't last night. We could talk about where we were. To be honest, 29-point comeback, greatest in NBA Finals history. That was, we can get into this topic, one of the most incredible shots to win an NBA Finals game or a huge basketball game of any consequence. Maybe we've seen in our lives with the Obi putback, or OG, thank you. and one of the rare moments in my life now where, I get up from the couch, like one of those things that, wake up the neighborhood. We've both seen a lot of sports, especially you, coached thousands of basketball games. But I'll start with you, Chris, that 29-point comeback. As the Knicks are getting closer, 3-4 points. First time all evening I had texted you guys in our group text, and I just said, wow, what an amazing effing game. And Chris's response was?
Just how stupid the Spurs were for a 20-minute stretch, which isn't surprising. Like, people are going to be really frustrated because we look at this through the Timberwolves lens, right?
Yeah.
You needed to get the Spurs when they were young and dumb and doing stuff like this because they will learn from this and be better next year and have a better chance to keep the Wolves from getting there again. That's what I see when it happens. It's not surprising to me that the Knicks made a game of it, but to lose that game took, I thought, more dumb plays on the Spurs' part than great plays by the Knicks.
Well, and that was kind of the way the post-game show started with Ernie and Kenny and Charles, plus Shaq and Draymond, who don't really need to be there. But anyway.
Shaq mailed it in. He's not even trying anymore on that show. That's just my opinion.
And then Draymond's trying too hard because that's kind of his MO. Yep. But anyway, it leads off with Ernie saying the exact right thing. What the hell just happened? And Kenny goes right into what a great play or sequence by the Knicks on the final shot that Brunson shoots the three-pointer to win with like 4 seconds left. And when he shot that, I was kind of like, this is unusual. Wait a second. He's giving time for somebody to get the rebound and put it back in, and then it happens. And it's amazing. And Kenny was like, that's a championship play. And Charles is just interrupting him going, that's it? That's all you got? That's how we're ripping out of this gate? Because then Charles said the same thing you did. But I just thought it was, I agree with that the Spurs were really dumb. That's been a fairly universal take. What were your thoughts as you were watching this downtown last night?
Well, I think that the critical error is Fox, which he's the one that isn't the young one. He's the one that is supposed to be the veteran that knows what to do, and he takes that easy layup and gets stuffed when it's like, you just have to dribble out the clock, man. You're up. What are you doing? So, I think, like, from my perspective with basketball in general, I just feel like everyone had the Spurs because they saw them beat the Thunder, and they're like, oh, those were the two clear, top-tier teams. But I just feel like, basketball in general, it's just not that way. Maybe they're the two clear top-tier teams, but weird things happen. Teams get hot.
Momentum, as we talk about.
Yeah.
And it's real, and the Knicks have it.
Yeah. And everything's closer than most people think. Like, to say that, like, I could say that if the Timberwolves are healthy, they've got a good chance if they're hitting their shots and everything's going and, they're playing the way they're supposed to. So I just think that, I don't know, this series to me has shown that things are closer than people realize in the NBA.
Yeah.
People were saying, the Knicks, they don't have a chance. But I think when you have a team full of guys that try hard on both ends, and I think that's the difference, right? Like, there's no Julius Randle on the Knicks anymore. Every single guy plays defense and offense, from Jose Alvarado coming off the bench to Josh Hart to OG to Brunson. Even Brunson's guarding. Sort of. But more than a Julius Randle.
Right?
More than hey, it's the finals.
Well, Karl-Anthony Towns. He's been playing awesome defense by his standards against Wemby. Yeah. It's been a revelation, but it's like these guys have it in them.
Yeah. We'll get into, well, they should. It's the finals, but and that's why I always watch. When anybody who says they don't watch, don't like, hate the NBA, Chris and I have been over this 1,000 times. Well, you're missing out on the best basketball there is, in all of its flaws. It's all in all its 3-point shooting happiness and regular season, apathy. Like, at least watch the damn finals.
Foul baiting.
Foul baiting. Yeah, it's terrible. There are flaws, but then you get to see something amazing like this. And I do want to get back to the anatomy of the meltdown. Mm-hmm. But I still kind of want to zero in on that's one of the, like I said, with what was on the line, it's a finals game. That's one of the coolest, most amazing shots or ends to a game. Just the last sequence that I think. Well, I mean, you could even go back to the Fox missing the layup and shooting the layup and the block and all that before that, but that I've ever seen. And I don't know. Like the first thing that came to mind was 1983 NC State. Lorenzo Charles dunking home Derek Whitmore's air ball in one of the most famous last plays, but also stories in college basketball and all of sports, because that was like the ultimate, not the ultimate, but it was mainly a Cinderella team taking down number 1 Phi Slamma Jamma. Anyway, like that's the closest I can think of. We've seen jump shots to win games, but a putback, an athletic putback like that with 1 second left, I can't think of anything better or more exciting, but that's why I brought you two guys in, you know. Maybe
I was
hyperbole.
thinking Christian Laettner.
Okay.
I know that's a shot, but
Yeah.
it seemed as improbable. I mean,
Yes.
you throw it cross court, he grabs it, turns around,
Yeah.
jacks up a goofy shot, and it goes in. You know.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
going to be
great.
a massive buzzkill for you.
Okay.
Tips are lucky to some degree.
That's fine. I don't care if they're lucky.
And so, like, he gets it, and he kind of just swats at it.
Yeah.
And it goes in. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't take skill. So, but it took the wherewithal to, again, De'Aaron Fox goes to double a guy at 35 feet for no reason. Like, I could pick out 9 plays with Fox in the second half.
Yeah.
I don't know if him and Brendan Sorsby have the same agent or what, but that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
And I know that's not fair, and that's not the case. And I would cut De'Aaron Fox more slack if I didn't hear his post-game interview where he was like, yeah, I went for a layup. Why wouldn't I? Like, he just wouldn't own it at all.
Yeah.
But that tip, like, OG was smart enough to go. Josh Hart would have went. I'm not sure Cat would have went. I don't know if Brunson, if he doesn't have the ball, goes to the glass like that. But those dirty work guys, that's just natural for them to go. And it was a heck of a play, but it wasn't, it wasn't Marcus Page for North Carolina tying up Villanova with the double clutch 3, and then Villanova hitting a 35-footer.
Well,
3 seconds later to win the game, that kind of a
That was
deal.
the second finals / March Madness or Final Four shot it wasn't quite, it was 1 second, but basically buzzer beater to win. That again, that was still, 35 feet, that's a harder shot to hit technically. I'm just talking about from pure visceral reactive jaw drop, like holy bleep. I just can't think of too many more moments in sports at the end of a game with a championship on the line where something like that exciting happened. But
It's funny.
we all have recency bias.
And you talk about Cat. Speaking of Cat, so he did something like this. Game 7 against the Nuggets. Last time his last, I think, run on the Wolves, where there was like 30 seconds left, and he had a tip dunk. Game was on the line. Game 7. So but yeah, that's kind of the thing, though, right? This is why teams win is you have guys committed for the whole game. So somebody misses a shot, you got rim runners, you got people going hard right at the last second after they played all game. I think to me that was the thing the Wolves were missing in their series against the Spurs, just like the effort. Yeah. And some of it was injury, but some of it was just like Randall loafing. Yeah. I think that's what you need. That's what you're seeing. If you're going to beat a really good, talented young team, you got to match their energy.
Yeah. Okay, Chris. Back to the stupidity of the Spurs. I think we all. It's been well noted. Charles noted it. They're up by 25, 28 points. They're taking 8 threes in a row at one point. They're not really slowing things down, milking the shot clock. One knock that I don't know if you agree with is Wemby wasn't getting enough rest, and he was petered out by the end of the game. Yes, you're a coach, so how much of this is on Mitch Johnson?
So he absolutely played Wemby too much.
Yeah.
And I have made that mistake more than once.
Yeah.
So I haven't even learned from it. Because you want that game. You have to have that game. You have to get it to 2-2 to win this, to have a chance to win the series, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so your best player, you don't want to take him off the floor even when you're up by 30. It's hard. Yeah. Especially when you're a new head coach who hasn't been burned by that yet. I totally have sympathy for him.
29,
I know,
15,
but Yeah,
Okay.
but we're in South Dakota talking about this man's decision.
Yes.
In a bar.
Yes.
On the next day at 2:00.
Yes.
He knows that without but consciously,
Yeah.
like everything he does is nitpicked.
Yeah.
To a level that none of us can understand.
Probably.
Right? And so that part I totally understand.
Yeah.
The 8 threes in a row, none of them were bad shots. And they were going in before.
Yeah, they were.
And so that is revisionist history, one way or the other.
14 to 26 first half,
Yeah.
3 of 17.
Let's say they
second
go
half.
3 for 8 right there. Game's over.
Yeah.
And so I do understand that. My issue is when you're at number 6 and they haven't gone, there's no reason to take 7 and 8.
Yeah.
It isn't the first couple. It isn't, we can only take layups. They did need to slow it down. They also, it's the NBA. They had their massive run, and it wasn't built on great play. It was built on great shooting. And those never last as long as the ones that are built on great play.
Yeah, law of averages.
Yeah,
you're
and
not
so
gonna-
I wasn't shocked that it became a game. I was shocked that somehow you can't find a way to win when you're up 29.
Yeah. Okay. I guess was it more because Charles is right. The other team has to participate in a 29-point comeback. But do you still think this was more Knicks' amazing comeback or Spurs screwing the pooch?
I mean, I think it has to be a little bit of both.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's the way it goes. I think it's, no offense, John. I know you get all pissy when I say these things, but it's
I can't wait to hear what's coming.
Those are media narratives, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a fun topic.
Did they lose or did the other team win?
Yeah.
It's like
both.
Yes.
Yes.
Both.
We all know
You know
it
what
was
I mean?
both. Yes, and here's my response. We all know it was both. What was it more of? That's more fun.
How do we want to spin it? Yeah. I would say it's I don't know if it's more of it either.
Yeah.
28 points, that's a colossal choke job.
Yeah.
But coming back from 28 points is a colossal comeback. I mean, I don't think it can be
Who are you rooting for?
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's
There you go.
the lens you're going to watch it
That's
through.
the difference.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's so much of both. I mean, it reminded me of. I mean, people are sharing memes online of, hey, there's a Spurs New Jerseys, and it's got a Falcons logo on it. That's what it reminded me
That was
of,
great.
you know?
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yep.
It was something else. And in the by the way, I don't know where you guys were or who you were with. Those are always fun little stories. I'll be honest. I watched most of the first quarter. It's like 41-20 after one, and I'm just kind of like, okay, well, I'm turning the sound off. I'm going to listen to something else. My entire attention's not going to be on this anymore. And then my husband got home late, wanted to eat dinner, and has no care at all in this NBA Finals game. But it's halftime, and I'm kind of like, well, in most cases, I would be a little. Can we eat this while we watch the game? But I was kind of like, I'm not missing anything. And if they come back, okay, well then we'll be done by the time. And I got done when I got done, it was like 9. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I've missed the start, but now we got the finish. You were at home.
Until he wasn't.
Until you weren't.
I was doing. I had dad duties. I was trying to take care of being a dad, and it's same as you.
Yeah.
I looked. It was, I don't know, 20 to 40 something when I looked the first time. That was when I could have feasibly started watching the game, and I'm like, oh, blowout.
Yeah.
Who cares? And then looked back. It was probably, I don't know, start of the fourth quarter, and it was down to like 15. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go out and watch the game. Everybody else is asleep, so came downtown. I watched the last part of the game by myself at a bar, but there were other people. Yeah. It was pretty, kind of scattershot because it was a Wednesday night.
With a cigar and a beverage.
I went to Stogie's to have a cigar because that's what I wanted to do. And, yeah, it's fun.
Can't imagine what it was like here in the old Orion Pub.
I should have came here.
I do too. I completely regret it because this is your best place to watch Timberwolves games and NBA Finals. I mean, when it's a big sporting event, there's going to be some people here, and it's going to be a blast. Chris, home, kids?
So boring. Yeah, I had baseball and softball.
But did you watch it the whole way
I did.
through?
Well, I watched the whole first half.
Yeah.
Because my son wanted to. And so we watched it, and then I didn't watch any of the third quarter. And then maybe 3-4 minutes into the fourth, I got a text from Jack Nelson.
Yeah.
We were texting about something else. He's like, are you watching the game? Or he made some comment about somebody making a dumb play. I'm like, dude, I stopped watching that. He's like, you might want to turn it back on. It's 9 now or whatever. And so I watched the rest of it then, but I couldn't tell you one play that happened in the third quarter.
Okay.
I did not watch.
Yeah.
I didn't see any.
I'm not invested enough to care, and when it got to 28, I'm like, I'm good.
But as it built back 9-4 to, you're just like, whoa! I can't believe what's happening. That's what's fun about sports. That's why it's still probably the best entertainment there is, and why we're sports fans, because a lot of games kind of blend together, and then you have that one last night.
Yet there are still people who will argue that momentum's not real.
Oh yeah.
I would love to have a conversation with those coaches. Just turn on that film and be like, oh, there's my argument.
By the way, my favorite, like, to just capture that whole big lead, we all eventually came around and watched the end, but a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of America tuned out and then tuned back in. My favorite thing that captures all of it was Larry David is sitting in the front row. And they showed highlights later on where a couple seats down from him, the guy that was sitting next to Kirk Herbstreit. I mean, we could talk about the celebrities for 20 minutes, but Kirk, because all of them were there. But
the only one who could afford
there's some random dude who's not famous sitting in between Larry David and Kirk Herbstreit. And he turns around when the Knicks are down by like 25 and they hit a three, so it's just like, oh, now they're only down by 22. And Larry's, of course, sitting there all grumpy. And then the guy comes up to him and goes, hey, trying to give Larry David a high five. And Larry David's just, get out of here. Stop. He's like so annoyed. I'm not high fiving you. We're getting our ass kicked. Get out of here. Shoos him away. And then later on in the game, show Larry David going crazy with everybody else. Yeah. John McEnroe, as it turned out, who he was sitting with. And I'm just happy for Taylor Swift. I really, lifelong Knicks fan. So glad she got to be there for that moment and celebrate it. Cordell's saying, I hate these people. I've loved it. These last two games, the pregame coverage with all the celebrity watching, I know it's silly, but
You got some tabloid in you, don't you?
I do. It's fun. Because I'm like, who's the real fan here? I know Chris Rock's a real fan. Spike Lee's a real fan. Ben Stiller's a poser. Anyway. I know.
I'm not going to question anyone's fandom. I just don't really care. That's where I go with it.
It's been kind of nice to see Celebrity Row, and it's not a Lakers game. You know what I mean?
I thought it was cool
because I'm like,
yes.
I've had it with the Lakers, man. It's enough.
Yeah, and this is and by the way, I did think that this, and the ratings have shown it. I think Game 3 was the highest-rated NBA Finals game since a Michael Jordan game in 1996.
Okay,
about 23 million average. So, and I think that has a lot to do with the Knicks.
The basketball scene.
Yeah.
Can't argue that.
So it's very cool to watch them. Yeah. But what were you guys thinking the first two games when Cat was dominating Wemby? And it appeared, and I texted Chris about this, and it appeared the Knicks were going to win and Cat was going to be the MVP. Clearly, and you can break it down, Chris, there has been some coaching going on to obviously take that away. Cat was disappeared in Game 3 in that loss, and I don't think he was a major factor in the comeback win last night.
He had 13 and 10 last night.
What are you thinking as you're watching Cat with the Knicks in the finals?
Good point.
As a diehard Wolves fan who wasn't exactly the biggest Cat fan.
Yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of his at all. But I will always add the caveat, seems like a great guy.
Yes.
So it's not a personal thing. I just don't like watching him play basketball because he whines all the time. He's got that Luka gene where he just complains about every call. He was awesome. He was outplaying Wemby, but he also didn't score in the fourth quarter of the first 3 games of the series. I'm assuming he did last night. I didn't pay that close attention. It couldn't have been too much if he did. So I think it was a little overblown at how great he was playing. But if he's here, then Naz or Jaden are not.
Yes.
One or both. They could not afford them.
Yes.
And then you don't have a guy like Dante. You can't trade for Ayo at all because of just the aprons and the rules, the way they were. Like, half your team's not here now. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, would you trade Jaden McDaniels straight up for Cat if they made the same amount of money? That's a fair question.
That's tough. That's a tough
5
one.
years ago it would have been very obvious, right? It would have been Cat.
Right.
And so
depends on what the other pieces are too. Same amount. Cordell goes, you would?
Sure, but you had to think about it, right? Like 5 years ago, it would have been really simple. 3 years ago, let's say.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And so I think he's played well. I'm happy for him. Like, I'd rather see him win it than Wemby.
Yeah.
Wemby's cheap, dirty, whatever words you want to use. Like, I'm over him.
And he's getting away with it.
Yes.
Damn NBA.
Yeah,
Let him
I mean,
get away with it.
He should be suspended already.
For the elbow, man. I
Yeah.
said it.
And then he did it again game 3, and he did it again last night. Like, he's cheap. So it's easy to root for Cat, I guess is what I'm saying, which anyone who knows me is going, yeah, right, because I'm not a fan.
We were having this exact discussion. I was with Zimmer 2 days ago, and I mentioned you, and he's just like interrupted me. He's like, I don't need to hear Chris's opinion. He hates Cat. So,
right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't like him. But I also think he's played well, and the guys around him have played better than the guys around Ant have played.
Yeah, well, no kidding.
Period.
Well, and you're letting reality get in the way. It's nice to go into this. It's nice.
Media stuff
It's nice. It's nice to immediately.
What's the narrative?
Well, look, you have the first thoughts that come to mind, and then that's when you bring in people who know what they're talking about, which is why I bring you guys in, because some of the first thoughts I had before thinking about the fact that you couldn't be able to afford Cat and Ant and everybody, was, gee, it's just, now he gets it. Now the light comes on, and he's matured, and he defers, and he has 7 assists in each of the first 2 games, and he's taking it to the rack. He's using his 7-foot strong frame inside, actually, in important moments in games against one of the maybe the toughest matchup in the league. But he could never quite do that at the right times most of the time with the Timberwolves. And then you could be mad at, well, who got him to do that? Well, I guess Mike Brown. Why couldn't Chris Finch get it? But that's all just fun, alternate universe, hypothetical stuff. It doesn't mean that, we wish Cat were still with the Wolves and he would have dominated Wemby and they would have won that series and they'd be in the finals.
They wouldn't have beat the Nuggets.
No.
Yeah.
Jaden won that series.
Yeah, right. There you go.
And then maybe don't even get to the same point. But go ahead.
And if Cat plays how he's playing now against the Nuggets, maybe they do, because he's going to the rim more. I heard on another podcast, a Timberwolves podcast, where they were talking about they think that Cat matured greatly during the second Tibbs era, because he kind of had to swallow his pride a little bit, because the first Tibbs era, I mean, Cat was treated like garbage, by Tibbs. Tibbs was a big Jimmy Butler stan, and they treated Cat like he was a pussy and just like a total...
At 22 years old.
At 22 years old, face of the franchise, they treated him like garbage. It was something that was... awful. You shouldn't do that. It's definitely not a Chris Finch-esque way of managing egos.
The famous Jimmy Butler MF practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Tibbs was all Jimmy Butler, and that blew up in his face, and it was malpractice, I say.
Ooh.
But anyway, Cat was traded back to that coach, and he swallowed his pride, and he's kind of like figured out a way to fit in. I think one reason why the Knicks can do what they do as well was Brunson. Didn't he take a discounted contract?
Very much so.
To kind of have this run, and look what happened.
Like $100 million less than he could have made.
Okay,
Yeah.
13.
Over the long
what I heard was $13 million a year.
Right,
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah,
not 100.
but
still,
$13 million a year.
$13 million is Io or Dante DiVincenzo,
Right.
or another good player, or
Yeah.
2 rookies. Wow. Here's one thing I want to add that when you bring up the MF practice, this is the greatest part. This is why I root for Cat right now. Andrew Wiggins has a ring already from Golden State.
Yeah.
If Cat can get one now, Jimmy's never winning one.
No.
That's true.
So I hope someone writes that article or brings that up to Jimmy, because how he acted was insanely idiotic.
Yeah.
Like just childish and all that. No, he's proven that everywhere he's ever gone.
It's true.
He's going to freak out on Golden State at some point.
And he was, 29 then? I mean, he was old enough to know better. The thing about Jimmy Butler is he's always wanted to be Michael Jordan, when it's like, dude, you're not even Scotty. So he could be and everybody's like, playoff Jimmy Butler. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. He had that 1 year where they went to the finals. But, I mean, other than that, I don't know.
Wasn't that in the bubble, too, on top of it?
I think so.
Yeah. The asterisk year, yes.
Yeah.
We'll land the plane here with the Wolves now, because the other two very simple reasons why they didn't win that series with the Spurs. They were unhealthy. You didn't have Dante. Ant's playing at about 50%. Nas was hurt a little bit, right? The shoulder. Io was a little banged up. I mean, they all get banged up this late in the season. Hardly anybody's playing at 100%, but that was more of a mass unit than most. And then, of course, it was just the play of Julius Randle, which plenty of great adjectives could be used. The guy that was in the trade with or for Cat. But now, okay, I mean, we kind of went through this when they lost, but now we've seen what it takes to get to the finals. The Knicks are on the precipice of winning them. And there's been some chatter, if you read close enough, Wolves articles or podcasts. I can't believe you listened to another one. You don't just listen to it. Yeah.
I gotta get my Dane Moore fix.
I'm kidding. I knew it.
With Britt Robson too.
Oh yeah.
But Dane Moore does not have these two folks. What now to surround Ant and make sure that the Wolves will make that NBA Finals window within the next 2 or 3 years, starting next year?
Well, I think, what the Knicks are showing is you need athletic wings that can defend. I think they need someone who's more of traditional point guard's not really a thing anymore. There's not that many of them, but you need a combo guard that's more facilitator and playmaker than scorer. And who that is, I don't know, but, a guy that can kind of make it happen. People have pointed to Kyrie. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that he's too injury prone, but guys that are gettable, maybe like a DeJounte Murray or like a Tyler Hero or something. I mean, you trade, if you get off of Randall, because I think that's addition by subtraction. I don't think he fits. I think he loafs too much. He was a big baby after his name was brought up in trade talks. I just don't think he fits. I think you get rid of some of these guys that are holding back the pace too. I think they re-sign Io. But yeah, I think there's going to be a big retooling. I would not trade Naz Reid or Jaden McDaniels. Tim Connolly talks about their sub 25 core, which is Ant, Jaden, Naz, and Baron J. Those are the 4 guys you kind of build around, and I think everyone else is fair game, even if that means you got to trade Rudy and just kind of take the hit of defense is worse, but you're hoping offense kind of makes up for that. I think that's kind of that. Tim Connolly is like an evil genius here, so I'm sure he'll come up with some wacky ass trade for some guys you were like, I didn't think they would be available, and then you roll with it. I don't know. I think 2 months from now, maybe even a month from now, it's like Summer League a month from now, I bet you a month from now, the team's going to look a lot different. That's my own opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Here's what I think. I think Naz Reid has to be your starting 4.
Yep.
And after that, everything's fair game. Because, including Jaden and Ant. I think they need a point guard. I am getting closer and closer to being okay with Ja Morant. I really am. Wow. And anyone who knows me, again, would think that's crazy. But here's why. You cannot have the ball in Ant's hands all the time. For this reason, you can't play fast because he doesn't want to.
Right.
He talks about it. It's very easy when you watch. He does not want to play with pace, so you have to get the ball out of his hands some. Mm-hmm. And maybe DeJounte Murray can do it, but he's coming off a couple pretty big injuries. He's right around that 30 years old. It's a little bit scary. I don't know who it is, but I also know I don't think it's going to be Kyrie for this reason. You've heard all this smoke on Twitter and everywhere else here the last 3 days. When they traded for Rudy and when they traded Cat, did you ever hear a thing before it came out?
No.
Tim Connolly doesn't talk to people about what's going on, and they run a pretty tight ship. Yeah. So I agree with you. It's going to be somebody
out of left
that
field.
We're not really thinking of, or just that it won't be this constant clamoring for, hey, I think it's going to be this guy. And you don't hear about them and Ja anymore, and it's a really easy trade to include Julius Randle in that deal. Now, it's still going to cost you more than him because Julius tanked his worth in the playoffs probably. But, man, I'm more and more just would like to see another ball handling
Yeah.
guard with Ant.
Wow, reckless speculation based off of connecting the dots. You should be in the media, sir. No, but
Coming for your job as soon as they fire me.
But no, but that makes a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense. All right, so our next, I think most people would think, I'm guessing or predicting, I haven't heard predictions, but Spurs will come back and win Game 5. They'll have a spirited effort, home crowd, and then Knicks finish them in Game 6. Do you guys think that will happen? Or do you have a surprise? Do we have a surprise up our sleeves?
I don't think.
Or is this
I think
so unpredictable?
Well, the odds are, they're not going to win 3 in a row. So I think Knicks will win. Does it happen in 6 or 7 or 5? I don't have a prediction there. Okay. I think anything can happen. I mean, you've seen it. These games, it's like, the Knicks won the first 2 in San Antonio. So, I mean, they're totally capable.
They are.
I got an exact prediction. They lose the next game. They win at MSG in Game 6.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Home
game wins. Desperate Spurs, Knicks finish off.
Yeah, but would it surprise you at all if the Spurs, being as immature as they've been and as young as they acted last night, come back home and can't get out of their own way?
Maybe.
In such a big game. It would not shock me at all.
No.
Now, I am a little bit of a conspiracy theorist when it comes to the NBA with who wins the lottery and all. Who do you think's going to be the head referee in that game? The extender.
Yeah, I was going to say
they're going to bring Scott Foster in, and they're going to make sure that it gets back to the to Madison Square Garden somehow.
Yeah. Have they said that on the Dane Moore podcast yet? I bet you they haven't.
No, they have not. No, they talk about the Timberwolves. So
okay, I would talk if I were them. I would talk about the finals today, just because. My God, well, we did. Screw them. And by the way, I don't know. I totally forgot. That's it. You got anything else?
That's a great way to wrap it up.
Oh, by the way, I forgot. And Cordell's like, thank God, he forgot a thought. We can get out of here. So for Chris and for John, Trent Singer, our gallery over there, video producer Cordell, right? The Orion. If you want to come on down, watch the finals. Saturday night, the Knicks could finish it all in San Antonio.
And enjoy a nice cold beer.
That's right. Cheers.
You need anything else, John?
No, I think I'm good, Greg. I think I'm going to tap out.
All right. Have a good night.